Tonight on EGL Live, joining Mellow and I will be EGL Marketing Manager, former MLG Pro, and former EGL Gears of War champion, Josh Loco de Guzman, along with the YouTube sensation, EGL Codcaster, and Community Manager for Imperial Esports, Alex Goochhyy. We plan to tackle the misconceptions of EGL's move to Sweden for EGL 6, clear up any misinformation about EGL 7, including the location of our UK venue. We'll discuss the highs and lows of I-45 along with the business of YouTube. We plan to update everyone on the delays to the EGL Super site and reveal the many exciting plans we have coming up for EGL over the next few months. Finally, we'll give you the dates and locations of EGL 8. All that and more coming up on EGL Live. And welcome to EGL Live. I'm SmellyMoss. Joining me, of course, my compadre, my main amigo, Chris Mellow Marsh. Nice, nice little point and shoot there from Marsh. And of course, we've got two special guests joining us. Of course, also from EGL is our one of our main men, Josh Loco de Guzman.
A mouthful of a name.
And I love it. I love it. And of course, we've got YouTube sensation Goochhyy, who does not like to be called Alex. So from now on, for the next hour, we are going to call him Alex. Alex,
let's go, Alex.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm not too bad. Cheers, Mike. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing very, very well. I'm doing very, very well. We've had a pretty crazy week. We've had some meetings and stuff with EGL, just discussing kind of our future. So we're going to talk about that a bit later. But first, we're going to talk about EGL 6, and I'm going to throw it over to Marsh because obviously he posted some stuff on Deserto. We've got tickets on sale now for EGL 6, and he can kind of clear up the kind of, I guess, confusion that happened when we kind of announced two events at once last week.
Once again, I guess I'm going over old ground a bit here, so anyone who hasn't got it yet, hopefully this will be the final bit of clarity you'll need. But of course, EGL 6 is taking place in Sweden. It's the first time we've ventured into the mainland. It's going to be held at the end of June, on the 30th of June to the 1st of July. It's going to feature Modern Warfare 3 on the Xbox 360 only, and we'll have a team cap of 32 teams. It's on the basis of first come, first served. So unless you're a top organisation who's really wanting to go, get in touch. If you maybe have problems paying immediately, we might be able to, sort something out there. But otherwise, it's a case of get the tickets while you can. Already there's been interest from at least about 25 teams, and that's excluding the bulk of the Swedes that will be interested. So it's likely that the event's going to sell out quite quickly. So, if you want to go, make sure you get in touch, register your interest, and we'll try and help you out, if tickets are going quickly.
I think one important aspect from a ticket sales perspective, just to kind of make it be known, is that obviously a lot of people buy single tickets with the aspirations of forming a team of 4 with their friends or whatever. It's already planned out. And again, it's first come, first serve, and obviously we want to try to make sure the teams of 4s get in there. So please, in the best interest of making sure your whole team gets in, sign up, on the same night around the same time, and then that way there's not any sort of confusion or anything with, one person from your team not getting in or whatever, because
yeah, exactly.
That's at the end of the day, we have to let the people who get in first have that right.
The way that we're selling them as well, we're not put them all up at once. So you can't just buy it out now and then there'll be like a group of people like, whoa, we bought tickets for ourselves. We've held a few back, so to prevent that kind of problem occurring. But hopefully, people will make sure they're already in a team before they make a purchase. And if they are a free agent, then they need to make sure that they're definitely going to be able to go. So otherwise, when we start getting into the realms of refunds and stuff like that, that's when we start having problems.
And then EGL 7. So that's EGL 6. Now pretend that that's a different planet. We've now moved planets. We're traveling through time and space to now. Ooh. Thanks, Chris.
I got into that thing.
And now we are talking about EGL 7 details, which has nothing to do with EGL 6.
So, EGL 7, of course, the dates will be the 4th and the 5th of August. It'll be in the UK, definitely. We're going to announce the venue later into the show. And then all the usual games will be back. So we'll definitely have Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 on the Xbox 360 with no team cap. We'll have Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 on the PlayStation 3, again with no team cap. And then, of course, we'll have Halo Reach and Gears of War 3 once again. Prize fund is yet to be announced. Ticket prices will be the exact same as EGL 5. And other than that, more details will be available on this cast later in and, of course, on our website and affiliated websites.
And then you have it. Now we're going to throw it over to Josh and Alex just to kind of get their outside opinions on exactly what's happened over the last week. Obviously, we'll start with Alex. Sweden. What are your thoughts on Sweden, especially as a caster? We're not really sending many people over for this event because of just the cost and so on, and just the fact that it's such a small tournament. We will be doing live streams and stuff, but it's all going to be based in the UK. So first off, Alex, what are your thoughts?
Well, to be honest, I was really excited when you first announced it with Sweden, and then Marsh was like, no, you're probably not going to be going. I've tried to convince him like 5 or 6 times now to send us, but I don't think he's actually going to be able to, so that's fair enough. So we will see. I mean, I think a lot of the atmosphere, obviously we won't be able to pump it up as much being at home. We won't be able to tell people what's going on in the event, but hopefully I'm sure we'll have good communication between us while we're still doing live streams from home.
It's interesting because a lot of people after the EGL 5, and it's never been discussed to this kind of strength that it was after this previous event. The fact that the way that the events are set up, and I'm responsible for setting up how the casters and presentation basically is, having the casters next to the players and having the casters commentary spilt out into the venue, so having speakers and so on, and obviously it affects how casting is done and everything, but in my opinion, it adds a huge amount to the experience and to the event. And a lot of people were suggesting that we actually take kind of like almost an MLG route and take the casters and kind of stick them in a back room.
I don't know. I mean, I see both sides of it, but I think for the people in the venue, it does actually create a lot of hype as well. And it does add a lot more to the atmosphere within the venue, and then obviously that builds the crowd up as well, which can be heard at home. And I think when you're watching a stream and you hear a crowd go wild at something that's happened, it adds a lot more to that as well. But of course, search and destroy is a lot harder to actually cast when you know that you can't actually call anything out whatsoever. And at certain points in capture the flag as well, you've got to just be careful that you don't tell anyone where they're pushing. I mean, a lot of the players do have their headsets that loud anyway, they're not going to hear you, but you do still have to just be a bit cautious.
I think people would be surprised that, like, when you actually put the players on the main stage's headphones on, how loud the sound actually is. And a person who can attest to that is, of course, Josh.
Well, with regards to playing and sound, yeah, back at EGL2 actually, Blackpool, that was a bit of a pain in the ass when the back of the stereo was playing full blast between a pretty important match.
That was like ridiculously badly set up by all of us. That one, it's like next to one station, just a huge speaker stack.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a kind of problem that's been fixed, and we keep notice of that now. So hopefully it'll never happen again.
No. But anyway, so EGL 6, first of all, it was quite interesting reading a lot of the comments last weekend, or last week even, when people were saying, you've just had a 113th COD event, and all of a sudden you want to go back to 32 teams in Sweden. But really, this is this is almost an investment in being able to do bigger events in the future, because basically, if we can hold a 32-team event and test the waters abroad, then this is the beginning of essentially a foreign circuit of EGL, And we want to have Halo and we want to have Gears of War there as an addition to COD. But if we get everything going smoothly at this event, then who knows what's going to happen in the future.
Well, I think a big point, and Marsh and I have talked about it. It's like if people, 132 teams or 130 teams plus the PS3 teams, that's a fantastic turnout. That's almost unheard of in esports to have that many people come for one team game. Obviously single player games are completely different, but for a team game, that is a really, really amazing turnout. And the only way we're going to increase that turnout is by expanding outside of the UK and encouraging more teams from the likes of Sweden, which does have a large community for both Gears, for Halo, well maybe not so much Halo now, but for Call of Duty. Obviously the Norwegians always had a lot of Halo players, and we're going to see that movement. Spain obviously is a huge one for Call of Duty.
I agree. Another thing interesting is going to be to see is I wonder how many UK teams are going to go, because I honestly think we'll sell out easily for Sweden, and I'm going to be interested to see how many UK teams head over and how many new teams attend EGL 6 and then as a result come out to EGL 7 or EGL 8.
Chris, would you kind of agree that that's probably the point?
It is part of the point, really. We want to push the boat out and give other nations an opportunity, really, because for the Scandinavian countries, especially, it's not always that easy to get over to the event. So the furthest that anyone in Europe is basically going to travel. Even Spain or Portugal is not as far as that technically. So to have an event over there, it allows locals to kind of get a taste of the land bug, so to speak. So maybe that'll catch on. They'll really enjoy their experience. They'll want to take it up a notch and go to a full-scale event. So that's kind of the idea behind it as much as anything. And in terms of UK teams attending, I think we will see most of the top teams, make their way over. I know that teams like Prophecy, TCM, they're already interested. Quite a few others, they've already said, we're definitely going to go. Excellence is putting a team together, and he's asked about getting a team pass for that. So, we're going to see a good standard of team there as well, which is great as well. Because obviously for the streaming and stuff, it means that it's something entertaining for the people at home to watch who aren't part of that 32 team cap. So, I think it should be a great event.
And of course, EGL 6 wouldn't be possible without our partners in Cry, which is European esports event, who have had one event over in Sweden in the same venue in Stockholm. So we're kind of helping them expand what they're trying to do and open the door for them to kind of bring new teams. Obviously, their first event attracted mostly Swedish teams, and hopefully we're going to see Italian, Spanish, and of course British teams over in Stockholm. We're going to take a break right now, but when we come back, we're going to talk about the business of YouTube. Of course, Goochhyy, one of the many rising stars of the gaming scene on YouTube, and you'd have to agree that he's kind of made a name for himself. So stick around. We'll be back with the business of YouTube. All right, the business of YouTube here on EGL Live. Of course, joining myself, SmellyMoss, is of course Chris Marsh, Mellow, and Loco. But the person this conversation is now going to revolve around is, of course, Alex, aka Goochhyy. So, Alex, first off, some YouTube facts and figures that I've scoured the internet for. Interestingly enough, 490 million unique viewers watch YouTube per month. Over 3 billion hours is consumed. And a fact that I thought was kind of interesting is that over 400 tweets every minute are to do with someone sharing a YouTube link. Now, let's go just kind of into how did you get started on YouTube and kind of with the whole vlogging thing?
Well, originally when I first started my YouTube, I actually had a Dazzle Platinum when I played Gears of War for game battles, and I bought one to actually stop getting disputes. So I used that to actually start my GB career, really. And then from there, came on to Call of Duty, started doing a bit of commentating and playing and uploading. And then one day I just thought, oh, I can't bother to commentate, but I've got to tell my subscribers something. And then just whipped out my iPhone with a video on, and that was the start of vlogging, I suppose, for me.
And like, how was that received? I guess obviously you've continued on with it, so it's been fairly well received. But that's it takes a lot of balls, I guess, at the end of the day, to put yourself out there like that.
Yeah, well, you always get people moaning about your appearance or whatever, but a lot of people, like you say, seem to think that you've got balls or whatever. So you just go on and carry on. I mean, I've enjoyed doing it. YouTube's something that I've done now for a couple of years, and to be honest, I really enjoy doing it. So that's why I do it.
And of course, go ahead, Josh.
What's the biggest motivational aspect to you with regards to doing YouTubing? Is it the increased views, the increased fan base, or do you just have a genuine enjoyment for doing it of your own accord?
Well, I obviously, like I say, I do enjoy doing it, but I think it's the fact that I'm sort of right in the thick of it with the community. You get a direct response from the community itself, and that's what I enjoy.
Do you think you've exaggerated your character more in order to continue like the characteristics of your YouTube videos over time? So basically, you exaggerated, yourself because it was your quirkiness at the start, which obviously has brought much of your appeal. In the same way it is any YouTube YouTube person with a lot of fans. You have your own appeal to your viewers, and I just want to know, is that what you've done? Have you?
No, I think, to be honest, I generally am myself on YouTube. I mean, for those of people that have met me like outside of YouTube or at LAN events or something, they'd say that I'm pretty much the same. Don't know. I mean, you've met me, and I'm not the same online as what I am.
Yeah, I would say you are, but obviously, I think it's a lot of people want to know sometimes. Are they the same person as the character they're portraying? But I would definitely agree. You are the same person in real life as you are online.
Yeah,
it must be interesting. It must be interesting going to a LAN event for the first time. Obviously, you're fairly new to that whole scene. You've only been to a few events, and that was all before or after you started on YouTube. So what was that the first time you went to a LAN event like? Because obviously a lot of people knew who you were.
Well, the first LAN event I actually attended was Reflex GT7, which is, of course, in Amsterdam. So I wasn't necessarily expecting many people to even know me, because that's sort of where you expect like the better teams to go or something, the pro teams, because obviously it's traveling abroad. So I wasn't expecting that many people to really have known me, because I thought, well, the pro players wouldn't watch my videos or whatever. But I was quite surprised to find that pretty much everybody did know who I was, and was quite shocked by that, really, to be honest.
So Excellency was like the first person there to shake your hand, and you were bowing to each other.
Well, Excellence was one of the first people I actually met in Amsterdam, and he was like, "Oh, you're Goochhyy," and I was like, "Yeah," and he was like, "I've heard you're a bit of a dick," and
he was right as well.
Oh.
Just
they were the first things that Excellence said to me, like one of the most achieved players that I've ever met, and then I've heard you're a dick. I was like, oh no. I'm not, by the way. I'd just like to hasten to add.
Wow, it's opinion in it.
Yeah.
It's just going to spread the rumor even further. People are going to be like, I heard you're a dick just because you've said that tonight. Some guy in some podcast or video cast said you were a dick.
Yeah.
That was me.
It was myself.
Okay, so obviously you're a YouTube partner. You make a bit of money out of your views and your videos. How did that come about? Are you a Machinima partner?
No, I'm actually partnered with YouTube itself. I'm not through Machinima or any other network, so I've gone direct to YouTube, and that was back on the old system as well. They've updated the system now to make it easier to get a partnership. But I actually
it's really good. It's really good new system. It makes people who've worked really hard and about to get their YouTube partnership that really paid off.
Yeah.
Not at all. This is someone who's really disappointed with that system.
Yeah, they've made it a lot easier now to get one than than back in the day. I mean, it actually took me 2 months for my application to even get looked at to
Yeah.
start with. But I think it's all been worth it. And I mean, I just like to. The money is not why I did it, because I think I'd uploaded something like 250 videos before I even started making any money, and now I make like 20p or something a week, so it's not even remotely worth it.
What
Well,
do you
I
spend
mean,
your 20p
that's...
on?
Yeah, sorry, Marsh.
What do you spend your 20p on?
Oh, well, I'm quite partial to, the fudge bars, Cadbury's, and
All right.
they've gone up in price now from 15p, so I don't even get change. It's a whole 20p now.
That is devastating.
I know.
And hookers.
And hookers. What hooker can you buy for 20p? She
Not
must
a good
be
one.
atrocious.
One classy lady, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
One classy lady.
Why do you
I
think I
mean-
went to Amsterdam first?
Yeah.
Well,
Listen.
in 6 years' time, you can afford a LAN out of that, so it's probably worth it.
It'll take me 60 years of logging 4 times a week to go to LAN.
Yeah, good times.
Yeah, definitely.
What about the kind of the YouTube community that supports you, and you've got a lot of subscribers and so on? Do you interact with them? How does that work?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I speak to as many people as I can on sort of Skype and Twitter, and I reply to comments, and it's just interesting to see what everybody says in the comment section of any video that you ever upload. I mean, it's the same with the stream chat now. I'm always interested to see what people are saying. I mean, that's why I do it. I'm directly interacting with the community. Like I said to Josh earlier, the reason I do it is to be directly in the middle of the community to see what's going on with everybody and what everybody thinks.
Are there people who you kind of respect out there, other vloggers or people who create content?
Yeah, of course. I mean, anybody that's ever going to work hard at something on YouTube, to be honest, I give them my respect, definitely. I mean, even those that just have an account and watch videos, I mean, they're equally, they're the audience, I suppose, so that's why they're there.
That's awesome. I mean, congratulations on the success of it and everything. It's pretty neat that, like, I watch the videos, and I tend to, you kind of read. I think there's one which is in your mom's kitchen, which was a couple weeks ago, which is terrible. Just terrible.
All of my videos are terribly cringy. I must hate.
They're not
to add
cringy
that.
though. I think as Josh was saying, like everyone's got their persona, and it tends to be kind of like the goofy people who come across the best.
This is just insults now, isn't it?
No, but I don't mean. I just like. I think the
biggest
kitchen.
retards that are the most successful.
No, don't say that.
I'm not.
Edit.
Really.
Edit.
Your
Edit.
inspiration. That's what
What do you?
the house YouTube. Don't worry. Me, Mike, and Chris are going to be doing one, and you're our inspiration. So we'll see how that turns out.
That's all right.
We're not really,
There are
mate.
some- there are
We're
some-
definitely not really.
There's definitely some funny ones though. Like I was watching one about where you're telling people about the worst day of your life and stuff, and you're saying about how hard it was to use the shower and stuff, and that was amusing. So
That was
I
a
think
good
some-
one. That's one of the best
Yeah,
ones.
there's some comedy gems in there, I think. So I think you could easily breeze over it and say, it's just like it's him just being an eccentric or whatever that's making it work, but it's not just that, is it? Really, there's a lot to it. And
Well,
I
it's
think
life. It's your life.
to actually to appeal to an audience like that's that generalized as well, and to actually like obtain the kind of enough people to make it worth doing over and over again, then to be fair, that's a talent in itself. So I think Goochhyy does, or Alex deserves respect for that. Deserves, not reserves.
When's Press Up Part 2 coming, Goochhyy? We want to know how many more you can do.
Oh no. No, I've been
Why
posting.
don't you have a showdown?
You are.
Why don't you two have a showdown? Who could do the most
Definitely
press
not.
up
Josh actually goes to the gym.
Oh,
I
Goochhyy and
I
Rel.
posted in
Goochhyy
the
and Rel.
gym and nutrition thread once just to try and beef myself up. It didn't really work very well.
What do your friends think of it? Like your actual real life friends?
Most of them.
If you
like-
have any.
Oh, yeah.
Do I have any? No, I don't. Sorry. No, to be fair, they initially thought it was a bit nerdy or geeky at first, and then when they realised that because they'd called me a nerd or a geek for doing it, they hadn't stopped me. A lot of them talk about it on Facebook and stuff like across the walls, which is quite embarrassing, but it gets me the views at the end of the day. Just posting my links on their Facebook wall.
And the future, do you have kind of plans where to take this, or are you just going to roll with it and then get a real job that pays you more than 20p a week?
Oh, well, I work as well. I work full-time as well in the week, but YouTube, like I say, it's just my hobby. I've got no sort of vision for it. I'll just do it because I enjoy it, and I'll see where it goes.
Awesome. And before we end the segment, in fact, this is what's going to end the segment as we go to an ad. Can you... okay, so, yes, Goochhyy, we need you to do your hello.
Oh,
No.
God. But,
Yeah,
but
I'm
can we
not
have
on
it? Can we have
YouTube.
Hello Twitch TV since it's more relevant to this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's probably good.
Hello, Twitch TV.
Bravo. Okay, we'll be right back here on EGL Live.
Go on.
Coming up in the next segment, we're going to talk about the EGL website, give you an idea of why it's being delayed and when exactly you can expect it, which we actually don't know. So coming up here on EGL Live, stick around.
That's that.
Hello. Welcome to EGL Live. I'm SmellyMoss. Joining me, Josh, Loco, who is in below me, and then to my right, or to my left, hold on, to my right, left, right, whatever, at Mellow
Excellent.
Live. And then Goochhyy is the other bottom corner. Jesus, I'm just going to pretend that didn't happen. Okay, so what we're going to talk about now is, of course, the EGL website. It's kind of been forgotten by a lot of people because we made this announcement so long ago, but it's kind of cropped back up for us this week, and we've been kind of discussing what's going on with it. Chris, I'll let you do the honors of just kind of talking about the delays.
Yeah, of course. It seems like this is a regular occurrence with everything website-based, but unfortunately, we had a number of setbacks. We had a code sorted. Our website was coming together nicely. As some people saw, we released a number of previews of the website, and that only begun to show the tip of the iceberg of what the features the website was planned to offer. But then, one thing led to another. Our first code pulled out, and since then, we've had a few issues with this, so on. So the situation we're currently in is, of course, we currently own consolegaming.eu. So we're looking at bringing something out, a bit of an improved version of Console Gaming EU is almost like a stopgap. So we could start getting some content out, doing some tournaments. We've already got partners lined up, ready to do tournaments. Call of Duty, Gears of War. We've got a League of Legends tournament that will probably be one of our first tournaments that we do when we've got something else online. Halo guys want a tournament, PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, Battlefield, the sky's the limit with what we can do. So straight away, we're kind of looking now at doing something with console gaming, for the next maybe, a few months, up to 6 months, something like that.
A holdover.
Yeah, stopgap, something to tide people over so they've got stuff to do. We've got the infrastructure to put it together. It's just a case of having the website. So that's what's coming first, and then running in tangent with that will be our new website, which will continue to be developed. Obviously, that's basically designed at the moment. There'll be a few more tweaks to that, and with that, when it's finally finished, there should be a lot of functionality when it's out of beta. Of course, other than, we'll have tournaments, leagues, ladders, all that kind of stuff. But as well as that, you should see an improved event page, of course, like the event aspect of our website, that'll be much improved. We want to bring together a lot of social media aspects that you can see on some other websites that are like almost like Facebook meets game battles in a sense, in that, you can, on the one hand, you can play with your friends, but at the same time, you can talk to them. If you've been to events, you can share pictures with them, stuff like that. We want to get to the point where you're able to like tag users in it. So, if there's a picture of me, Alex, Josh, and Mike together, I can tag them in it using their usernames and stuff like that. And that's the kind of thing that we want to bring out in it, improve profiles, having an EGL rank, almost like a game battles ranking. But, again, it's going to be, we're going to have a separate rank for events and for online. So you can compare how you've done to other people who've attended events. Obviously, people are going to be thinking, how's that going to work? But, we're going to put together a formula to make it so players are ranked. And then, maybe if you stop playing games, for example, you might look at your profile in 5 years' time and see like how you performed at EGL 7 or how you performed at EGL 8. That's the kind of thing we're looking at doing. So eventually, when the website launches, there'll be a lot of functionality. It's just a case of time, really. So be patient, and hopefully we'll have some updates with that soon.
I think one thing, Chris, just add on to that, and I've definitely noticed it in terms of your ideas for the website and the collective ideas from EGL, is being easily able to locate what you want to find and use. Because a lot of gaming websites these days, it's so hard to find. Even when you're used to a website, the interface at the start is a nightmare. And I think one of the things about the EGL website is going to be great is that if you want to go for a review, you want to go play games, or you want to report, whatever you want to do, it's going to be easy to find. And even for parents, there's going to be so many features. So it's all family orientated. So kids can get to LAN without having to worry about if they're going to be allowed to go or not, because all the information is going to be there.
I think that's a big important thing about what we're doing and how we want to proceed with EGL, especially such a large portion of the players are kind of at that 15 to 17 mark, and a lot of the games we play can only be sold to 18-year-olds. So we need to kind of push across how kind of the safety aspects of it almost for the younger players, and convince parents that you've obviously bought this game for your kid. Why not let them attend the event? It's a great experience. It's a fun experience. It's a social experience. No one attends, well, except for Josh, attends a LAN event to win money. Everyone, except for he doesn't really get to do that very often now.
Or Chris on his mobile phone games or whatever it is.
Don't criticize him.
We made that joke last week. But yeah, no one attends an event to win money. Let's be realistic. If you got 130 teams, only 5 are going to walk away with a cash prize. The rest are there to meet the people that they've met online.
Yeah, and there's so much more that we haven't even touched on. Josh mentioned how easy the user face will be to do, but we just want to make it so simple. So for the first time ever, you're going onto a competitive gaming site, and you're going to most, and it's like, whoa, there's so much content. I don't know where to begin, but we want to kind of alleviate that. If you're an advanced user, you'll get a slightly more sophisticated user interface because you'll be used to navigating around the website. Whereas if you're on for the first time, let's say you don't even have the game that you're interested in, so you're browsing the ladders, you go through to Call of Duty. We want to make it so it's so simple that you can actually buy your game there and then. It'll be delivered to your house, and then you can get into playing the ladder from then on. So it's that kind of thing that we want to introduce. Just so it's so easy to navigate that absolutely a monkey with a typewriter could get around and play EGL Online, and that's exactly what we're going to be about.
And I think one thing I'm just going to throw in there, like kind of a connecting thing that we're trying to work on, is getting kind of a presence on Xbox Live, and hopefully that kind of all that stuff will incorporate into each other. So you'll be able to use the website, be able to go on Xbox Live, there'll be the EGL presence there, and it's all connected. So, for example, as you're saying about buying a game, obviously many games or most games are available now on Xbox Live, extremely overpriced, but you can get them and download them right away. And hopefully there's things can progress from that perspective too. But obviously the first thing we need is a website.
Yeah, we do. And, we devoted a lot of time to getting this sorted because it's very, very important for us to get it together. But yeah, there'll be other avenues of it. Hopefully we'll be able to get a phone app out there, that kind of thing, so you can compare your stats on the go. You can maybe you at college, all of a sudden you find out that your friend plays game battles and you never did. I don't know why I keep saying game battles. It's in my head. Why your friend plays EGL online, so you can compare profiles, you can challenge in there and then, so when you get home, it's ready to play. So that kind of thing, it's just simplicity is what we're looking for, but at the same time, there's going to be a lot of features in the website, so it's almost going to be a one-stop shop for everything gaming.
An interesting thing for you, Alex, is I'm going to call you that forever.
Oh no.
An interesting thing is obviously you got into this through game battles.
Yes, yeah, I did. I found game battles about 4 years ago, and Chris
It's
Marsh once
hilarious. Marsh, during the break, insisted that everything has to be written backwards in order for it to be viewable.
Well, it does, doesn't it? It does.
No.
No, it does on the actual thing. No, look at the thing at the top right. Oh no.
Why did you think that?
No. Look at the thing in the top left or whatever, the top right of your screen. That's what it's
Okay,
like.
show me what it looks like.
mirrored.
Get that back up.
It's all mirrored, so I'm putting my right hand up, but it looks like my left hand's up.
Can you put up your sign?
Oh,
put it-
that's bollocks then. Let's just scrap the whole stream. Let's just power it down.
Right.
So does that mean
let's
like
keep
all
going,
our
let's do it. That's
does
what
that mean
Mark
like
did.
all our names are backwards and stuff?
No, I think it's just. Oh right. Well, I'll but continuing on anyway. So you do know that we all got into this for game battles, like both Josh, myself, and.
I know. I was just trying to bring Alex into the conversation.
I'll bring him in.
That was called a segue.
All right.
That's French. That's French for involving someone else into the conversation. So, Chris, we love your life story, but Alex is our special guest. Okay.
Yeah.
So relax, Josh. You're probably gonna be around a lot more in the future, so you're gonna have your moment to shine. Alex, on the other hand, Alex. So you got into this from game battles 4 years ago, as you were saying, and obviously it's snowballed from there, and you found Deserto eventually. Are you still on game battles? What do you think of that? Like, obviously that site's evolved in the last 4 years tremendously.
I think it's actually got worse.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm not a big fan of game battles, but Marsh will argue that to the end of till the cows come home. So.
Well, I think
I like game battles.
Yeah, I mean, I still play game battles now. I mean, just for the occasion, more for the friend aspect of it, go on there for the social and have a laugh with my mates. But no, I think it's got worse over time. I think it's got bigger, but then they've changed it for certain people, and then it's obviously affected others, as does everything. But anyway, why am I even talking about game battles? That's not why I'm here. But no, basically I started off on game battles and then, like you say, found Deserto, and now I just love LAN. I was saying to Marsh last night, I mean, in January I found my my one true love, and that is LAN.
I think it's many people's true love.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah, Josh, go ahead. You can now talk.
I was just, but this whole loving LAN aspect, I think it's so like kind of underappreciated, like how many people actually love LAN. You know what I mean? We all love it.
Yeah.
It's great, and a lot of people underplay that sometimes. But anyone who dares say they don't, they just get shut down immediately. So just a bit of a I don't know,
I think everybody
romanticization of gaming there.
Yeah, well, I think that everybody that goes has got to sort of love it. Otherwise, why would you still bother to keep going? I mean, like Mike said earlier, not many people are going to go just to win money. There's not that many people that can go and genuinely have a shot. I mean, what is there, like 5 teams at each event that can potentially win money? So I think you've got to go because you enjoy the actual event itself and the people there, of course.
I think one of the interesting things, you can see it in Call of Duty right now over the last kind of 4 iterations of the game. It's not even that there's 5 teams that can win money. There's, only actually probably about 10 or 15 players that will win money. They just happen to bring, each event 2 or 3 other guys along for the ride. Now, what we do, it's this last event especially, we saw a lot of the better players split up a lot. So that made things a bit interesting, and not a lot of people knew exactly what was going to happen. But you look at kind of previous things. Halo, for example, obviously has had one team kind of dominating it for the last couple of years or the last couple events until Straight Rippin' came over and just absolutely crushed everyone. And same for Call of Duty, but everyone still wasn't quite sure what was going to happen with the British sides. Do you think that's good for the game? I guess Alex, to see the kind of the better players split up, or do you like to see like kind of the super teams?
I don't really know, to be honest. I mean, I'm a great believer in the fact that teamwork makes the team complete, to be honest. So one player, maybe two players in a team shouldn't be able to theoretically win an event. Like, they shouldn't be able to carry two, suppose, lesser players. I think it should be a team's only as strong as its weakest player.
So you don't
It's a
think that
great
there's
point.
like you don't think there's players that are that much strong? Like you're not a believer in kind of
Well, of
like
course,
there's. Go ahead.
yeah, of course there are always like stronger players in a team or players that can do things that others can't and just make plays, certainly like change the game over straight away. But I think to play like a full 10-minute capture the flag, if there's only one player doing anything, then surely up the other half of the map, for example, other players will be dying, and then that's where the enemy team can actually penetrate. So I would have thought that it is a team game. You've got to have good teamwork to be able to win an event. I mean, look at Apex NA, for example. I suppose you could say they stormed EGL 5, and they say that a lot of their work is down to teamwork. I mean, they have got good players in their team, but they're still largely teamwork based.
I think
They didn't storm EGL. They
they did. They
literally
did.
just
Yeah.
no, I don't mean storm. Like I
Oh,
honestly,
beyond that.
stormed is
Yeah.
an understatement, a huge understatement. They
Yeah.
literally like just picked up Europe and spit it out. Like,
You know,
they literally took 500 players, just ate them up for lunch, and just spit them out.
the
And that
thing is,
was
I think their attendance was a really good thing for the scene as well, because one thing that a lot of people have neglected to notice is that it's not like that just showed how far the US scene is ahead of Europe. That, if anything, showed how far their team is ahead of the world, because they do the same in their own country, and it's really galvanized the scene over here, and it's made people see that there's different ways to play the game, and that we can improve our tactics and stuff, and especially like teams like Prophecy, the way they were talking at iSeries, they learned a lot from watching them play, from playing against them, and it's basically completely revolutionized how they approach the game. So really, it's kind of thrown a spanner in the works, but in a good way, that it's going to make things a lot more interesting now, because people are going to look to Optic and see how they approach the game, and not necessarily mimic the strategy, but kind of rework their own strategy. So we see new things. We see the tournaments take a different. We might see new teams coming through now as a result of this, really. So, and that would be the ideal scenario.
hopefully.
Mike, I was asking you a question, Mike, actually. Do you want to answer it?
Yeah, no, I'll answer it.
It was just about, when you touch upon team changes and stuff, but, you say that last event we saw a lot of team changes, but we see about every event. And
Oh, I know. Of course, I know that, but I think like UK Halo is a good example, and obviously that's your background over the last kind of couple years. You see, kind of, there's key players who, like the Buck brothers, for example.
yeah,
They're two, one more than the other, but they come together as a package, and they're players who, if they're not teamed with the other really good players, they don't necessarily succeed as or go as far as they should. As soon as you put them with, I don't know, they're interesting.
No, I fully agree. Honestly,
That's a
you're only
tough
as
one.
good as your weakest link. That's what it comes down to.
But
then-
but they're an interesting group because they've been beat so many times in finals, and
Yeah.
you played with them, and it's I don't know. It's like that you had Baxter with them for a while, and that didn't work out. And Baxter's been on some phenomenal lineups, and he's a great player, and he's got a lot of charisma. And I don't know, like that. You have Vard. He's another great player who's been very successful over multiple Halo titles. You've
Yeah.
got in Call of Duty, you've got Excellency, you got Gunchhyy, you've got Vapes, all guys who have been part of really, really strong lineups. But then you put them in a weaker lineup, and they still stand out, and they stand out a lot more than their teammates. But they still do very, very well at events. And I think you can't disagree with that.
You can't, but then again, I think it comes down to the nature of the game. With Halo, there's a lot more teamwork involved, in terms of, say there's one person on the map. You got at times, you've got 2, 3, 4 people shooting him at once. Whereas with Call of Duty, it's a lot more positioning based. You play around your team and stuff like that. And we saw it with Call of Duty XP, where Gunchhyy and Excellency were basically in a team, significantly weaker than what they used to be playing in. I'm sure that the other two members of their team won't consider that unfair. But they were able to excel, and there was one map where particularly Goochhyy was just running riot just basically single-handedly, and you couldn't do that in Halo. You can't take on the world because you're not going to fight one person after another after another after another.
That's the thing, Mike. This is why you're seeing people like Excellency in the Gunchys of COD. They do work off their own accord, because on Call of Duty that's possible. You have much more freedom to be an influence of your own accord. On Halo, it's extremely difficult to do that. And if anything, I think Halo is probably the hardest at the minute on console by quite a stretch, at least in terms of what you can do in the game and how you can differentiate yourself. But at the same time, that's why everyone loves Call of Duty. That's why I love Call of Duty. That's why I become a fan, because you just watch great players just do everything off their own accord for one match or something, and it's just it's so refreshing to see.
Obviously, Halo 4 is coming out, and there's going to be a new Black Ops game towards the end of the year, right around the same time. Now, the Halo is interesting because I remember back, it might have been Halo 1 even, or Halo 2, there was kind of developer interviews, and obviously the developers have changed for Halo 4, but there's a guy who said that the goal of Halo is to make every player have a great, impactful moment playing the game every 10 to 15 minutes. So it doesn't matter what your skill level is, that it doesn't matter who you're playing, you can be playing amazing players, but you will do something that's amazing that will make you come back and play that game. Obviously, Halo Reach is a completely different, so something went astray there, but do you think that Activision has forced kind of the Call of Duty developers to pick up that kind of model? Because I think that's what you see, especially in the last couple kind of Call of Duty games, is that skill level is incredibly important if you want to win a LAN event. But if you're just playing, like obviously I'm terrible at COD. Marsh isn't very good, but we both love the game.
It's incredibly important, Mike. No, that's a very important point, actually. It's incredibly important that you can do something off your own accord. Is that what you meant, basically?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, every player has their moment to shine, and shitty players or bad players can play a really good player and beat them in a certain situation, but that will make them feel really, really good. And obviously that really starting to come over to LAN a lot more.
Yeah, no, it's so important because a game can't be popular if any random person can't go on and get a kill. At the end of the day, to be the best, it's a lot harder. But if you can go onto a game and you're struggling just to have some fun by, just killing a few people, and you can't do that, no one wants to play that game. COD, you can be the best, but you can also get killed by anyone. And so that is really a large part of the game's popularity.
That is the game's popularity. That is the bulk of the popularity. You could have bought the game that day, and you could kill one of the Optic members like there and then. Whereas on Halo, if you joined a game and it was like that, there's a good chance you can go the whole game without even getting a kill.
Yeah, it used to be like that. I think Halo 2, that level, that was I think equal to Call of Duty.
I know what you mean.
Aspects.
I mean, Halo obviously evens it out a bit by having power weapons on the map. You can be that man who goes in and even if the other team is excessively skilled and the teamwork's ridiculous, you could still go in and you might luckily get a sniper rifle, pick up a sniper rifle, pull off a couple of headshots, or pick up a rocket launcher and blow a few people away. That's the kind of thing where that's the moment where one player can shine without even necessarily being that good. But whereas on Call of Duty, it's still possible to do that whenever.
Oh, definitely, Chris. Basically, developers need to decrease kill times. Kill times need to be quicker.
Well, I think the kill times is a good kind of leads into the death of Halo Reach and what's happened with that game, with MLG kind of having a lot of success with it and then all of a sudden dropping it from the next event to obviously I think they're taking into account both the location of the next event and what they plan to do later on in the year, and we'll find out as those details are released. But that I think Halo Reach has struggled tremendously over the last year and a bit, and the reason that is a lot to do with the game and kill times, but from a competitive standpoint, I would argue that a game like Call of Duty, where the settings aren't as customizable as Halo, helps the game. So, of course, there's weapon bans and so on. Gears of War to a little bit. Obviously, there's only really weapon swaps in that game, so it's not as customizable as Halo Reach. Halo Reach, you can change so many things.
Too much.
And it hurts the game at the end of the day. And the Halo community, and you look at what's happened with MLG, is so much focus is put on map design and trying to use the maps in a way that they shouldn't be used and weren't designed for. And it's almost like because this has kind of evolved into this, people expect there to be very drastically different rules and only a couple weapons can be used and all that kind of, it's almost nonsense. And I know they try to change that with MLG, with Halo Reach, with involving some of the kind of newer introductions of the power-ups and some of the special weapons and so on, but they still didn't do enough to kind of go back to the roots of what Call of Duty has done.
I think that where they fell down actually was they needed to do that, but they have a tendency to do it in the wrong ways. Like, for example, sprint should have gone straight away because it altered it. Like, you know, you can still play without sprint, and it worked better. It played more like regular Halo, but at the same time, you know, there's other things they could include that, you know, a new addition to the game to keep it interesting. So it's getting that balance between keeping it interesting and keeping it real to the game. You know, like for deserter rules, for example, we stripped down a lot compared to on Black Ops compared to what MLG did. But yeah, ultimately our rule set was better received because, you know, people would rather lose a bit more stuff but play a better game than they would actually, you know, keep a lot of the crap in. And some of it was awful. And it's just like they got to the point where the FAMAS was the only weapon being used, you know, close range or long range, and that takes away from it, you know, the skill of having an SMG player or, you know, an assault rifle player. Instead, you just had everyone playing AR basically, and, you know, we had some maps that we didn't play and some game modes that we didn't play over here. And, you know, although I think even a lot of the American pros said that they preferred what we did, it's just that, you know, at the end of the day, they're going to practice on what's native to them.
Alex, now, did you obviously Josh and Chris are going to be like, oh, we got into it the same way. But they obviously have been part of Deserto for a very long time and have been around for the establishment of the rule sets. Have you been involved in Deserto for that long, or was the Deserto rule set something that you were introduced to?
No, I was introduced to the Deserto rule set.
Okay.
Like I stayed on game battles for a good couple of years before I even found Deserto. So
okay,
I came in and had to adjust to the game style that Deserto set.
Okay, so can you kind of just let us know and explain to us how you came across that and what your opinions were of it as a new player at the time?
What, of Deserto in general?
Of Deserto rules.
Yeah, well, obviously I already knew about them because it's so heavily advertised now, to be honest, across, well, our community anyway. You're always going to know what's going on the other websites, but so I was aware of what their rules were, but it was just adapting to start with was a little bit different because I was the typical Modern Warfare 2 game battles search and destroy player, and then all of a sudden I'm being made to play capture the flag and domination and demolition and stuff, and I was a bit bad to start with, but now I'm obviously one of the best players in the world. So
what's the longest game that you've ever played on Deserto rule set, time wise? Like a match.
If you miss COD 4, then it shouldn't be a problem, because obviously if you came in Modern Warfare 2, then there was no problems with sabotage. Whereas if he had come in COD 4, then he could have said hours, really.
Oh man,
no, I
ridiculous.
started playing Deserto properly on Black Ops. That was when I sort of hit it hard. So I missed the sabotage and Call of Duty 4, like you say. I was back on Gears of War back in the Call of Duty 4 days. So
I remember back when COD 4 was out and the rule sets were all crazy and the matches would go on forever, and trying to fit that stuff into
like a
live streaming and every event organizer, I'd witness the conversation happen, we've got to change the rules, and the likes of Marsh and Michael Kent going, no, we can't do that, and you look at how drastically they have changed over the last couple of years, and it's fantastic, and it's improved the game, and it's definitely one of the reasons why the popularity is where it's at, is because the games are so much tighter and you can play them a lot quicker. You don't need to set aside a block of 8 hours.
Well, at least now you can predict sort of how long a game's going to play as well.
Exactly.
I mean, if you're going to have a best of 9, you'd say maximum it's going to take is like an hour and a half or whatever.
All right, so we're going to take a break now, but when we come back, we're going to announce EGL 8, which
before we go, check this out. This is Goochhyy impressive.
Oh no! Oh, is that a GIF as well? Oh,
that is a GIF,
no.
of course. I'll make that readily available to everyone. But I'll tell you who you look like in that. You look like Louis Theroux.
Oh no! I've been told that before.
You actually do look like Louis Theroux. So
Louis Theroux and
McLovin.
McLovin's my biggest one. but Louis Frew and McLovin is who I've been told I look exactly like.
So Fabo, thanks for tweeting me that, and I'll give you a retweet so everyone can appreciate the gift that you put together.
Oh no.
But yeah,
Right
go on,
now,
Mike.
since you're doing shoutouts, and before we take a break, I'm just going to throw in that there is I'll throw the link up on the EGL Pro Twitter. I'll find it as we do the break, and then I'll post it up. But it's Extreme Gaming did an excellent piece of video, a coverage perspective of EGL 5. And I saw on the Deserto forums earlier this evening that they were kind of disappointed that they weren't on the announcement for EGL 8 that's already been out there. And I'll definitely make it up to you. I actually had no influence. Neither of us, neither Chris nor Josh nor anyone at EGL had any influence on what videos were selected. So I'll make it up to you, I promise, because your video is really good. When we come back, we are going to talk about EGL 8. We're going to talk about the location of EGL 7, which we have not mentioned yet. And we're also going to talk about what's in the pipeline for EGL from a what affects you at home perspective. So all that and more coming up here on EGL Live. And welcome back to EGL Live. I am SmellyMoss, and I'm joined by the likes of Mellow Live, Goochhyy, and Loco. And we were talking about EGL, and we're about to release the information concerning EGL 7 and its location, and EGL 8, and exactly where, how, and what, and when that will be. So now we will start off with EGL 7 and its location, and who can choose? Well, actually, we'll let Goochhyy. Alex, you can be the man to tell everyone where that's going to be.
What's this, EGL 7?
Yeah.
Okay, it is in Blackpool.
Hey, what a surprise!
Yeah.
Woo! Yay!
We should
Yeah,
have some party
exactly.
poppers to pull off, spraying champagne everywhere.
We actually should do. We'll remember that for next time.
But yeah. So we're back to Blackpool again. As people already know the games. You already know the venue, of course, back at the Norbreck Castle. Everyone's favourite. I don't think people can get enough of the Norbreck Castle, especially not Mike Bebenick.
I love it.
Yeah,
I honestly,
course.
it's the home to EGL, man.
Of course, we're back there. The same travel as before, the nearest airports, Manchester Airport and Liverpool John Lennon Airport. So guys from outside of the UK flying to there, or even guys flying internally inside the UK fly to there, of course. And yeah, it should be another great event. Obviously, things ran somewhat successfully for EGL 5, and we just want to build on that, hopefully. The infrastructure for the internet should be better this time because we've learned some lessons from last time. That was our first time running a Call of Duty tournament online of that scale. Online at LAN, of course. So hopefully some more improvements, better exhibition stuff, that kind of thing. So come on, come all. Hopefully we can, 113 teams, hopefully we'll be looking back at that in 5 months' time and going 113 teams, not that many.
I mean, okay, I'm going to just throw this out there, and people wondering why we choose Blackpool, again, is, there's two main reasons, and one is money. The venue is extremely cheap for us. And the second is that it's easy for us to use the venue because we've used it twice now. We can roll in there and do everything much quicker than we can in a new venue. For example, Emirates, that venue was insane. We had to use an elevator to get everything up, one elevator with 20 people trying to squeeze things up and down, AV kit, all the kit that we use, monitors, the Xboxes, the power, all that stuff. So Blackpool is just so much easier for us to use, and we feel like we can just put on the best event possible there for EGL 7. Goochhyy, what do you think of Blackpool? Do you have any sort of opinion about it?
Blackpool, the place or the event venue?
Both.
They're
both, definitely.
They're two different things.
Yeah, exactly. They're both two different things. I thought Blackpool, the place, is not exactly the most glamorous of cities that I've ever been to. But
Come on,
the venue
it's the Vegas of Britain.
Oh, I don't want to go to Las Vegas then, yeah.
Oh, man, Vegas, it's not that great of a city, I'll be honest.
You've obviously never been to Castleford.
Hold on, I need to plug in my laptop. I'm running out of power. Josh, what's your opinion of Blackpool?
Honestly, everyone says, yeah, the venue's great, but the location isn't. But anyone, because obviously the big Sunday night out of EGL, anyone who does that, they always love it. And even, there's not that great access to food and other facilities, but I love the venue. The hotel itself is quite nice if you stay there, for sure. And I think it has the whole package. The only downside, obviously, is how hard it is the relative hardness for some people to get there. But even then, it's direct train from Manchester Airport if you go into that airport. So
yeah, it's not hard. It's not that difficult to get to.
No, it's not. I mean, if you're going to come to an event, traveling an extra 30 minutes, 1 hour, it's not that much of a difference, really, is it? And that's all it is when it comes down to it. There is still a lot of food options. There's a supermarket, I think, fairly nearby. If you've got access to a car, or I'm sure somebody else will be going down. The food inside the venue itself wasn't actually that bad. I think a lot of people are concerned because their general clientele probably don't necessarily expect high standards of food, as long as they get a pie and peas or something like that. But they did a buffet and there's quite a lot of options. And
I wouldn't say that EGL's attendees have that high of standard of food.
Well,
either.
we're thinking of drafting Gordon Ramsay next time to make a Michelin star cuisine for us to chow down on. So yeah, there's the food in the venue, there's plenty of access to that and stuff like that. So there's everything you need. There's so many places to stay, but a lot of people are happy to stay in the venue, and that's great. It's extra convenient to get out of a lift and you walk into the venue essentially. But of course, people who maybe have got a slightly tighter budget, if you shop around, there's more bed and breakfasts in Blackpool than there is Xbox 360s in our main hall, and that's saying something really.
I was going to suggest one thing I'm going to say, and that's that I haven't really seen too much of, but hopefully we'll see more of, especially with the kind of attendance that we had for Call of Duty, is that, use Deserto, use Halo Forum, .eu, use the EU Esports, use the Gears of War Forum to find carpools. And if you can't find a carpool, if no one has a car, but someone can drive, think about renting a car because you'll save a lot of money. Sometimes it's probably, if there's 5 of you that can squeeze into it, it'll probably cost the same amount as using National Express. So instead of spending 9 hours on a bus, spend 3 hours in a car that you've rented. Another option, of course, is to book travel as far enough in advance if you want to save on money, of course, because at the end of the day, it's really expensive to travel by train here in the UK. And unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about that. We tried actually the last event to get kind of a Virgin discount for people and have a land train up to London, but it just wasn't realistic in the end, and Virgin aren't that nice. Yeah.
That was the final night.
Yeah.
That was the final call.
That's all I've got for you folks. All right.
Yeah, there's a lot of options in summary.
Yeah, it's a great little town. It's not that bad. It's on the sea. It's kind of neat. There's the tram. There's the illuminations.
Exactly.
That's your kind of thing.
There's a lot of time now as well between now and then to book your travel, to make sure that your travel's extra cheap. So if you book your train soon, if you know you're going to go to the event, book it now, save the money. It'll pay dividends in the end.
I mean, obviously, we're announcing things thick and fast now. We've got EGL 6 we announced last week, EGL 7, the dates. We're telling you the venue. We're going to tell you the venue and the dates for EGL 8. We're probably going to tell you what we're planning to do for 2013 really, really soon. So we're trying to give everyone as far in advance notice because people, I'll be honest, like I'm kind of trying to push these things along with kind of the core people at EGL because I'm sick of people complaining about clashing with dates and so on because it's kind of ridiculous that we're having to try to find venues and work around other events, which we want to do. It's more actually the venue's faults, to be fair, but hopefully we'll be able to announce a whole 2013 lineup really, really soon. So I think that's even a call to action for other events if they want to yoink dates from us. We're going to now talk about EGL 8. We'll get that out of the way, and then we're going to talk about some of the kind of things that we're discussing at the core of EGL and what we want to bring you over the next kind of year and a bit. EGL 8, Josh, you can say the dates.
Yeah. Oh,
and then Mellow can say the venue. We'll start with the dates, Josh.
Josh is quickly just
so,
Googling it.
Yeah, no. So yeah, October the 13th to the 14th, EGL 8.
There you go.
It's quite local, but go on, Chris.
Yeah, so obviously those dates, it's going to be held in Manchester. It's going to be at a place called Event City. You can now actually see it on the stream there. We're going to be teaming with Replay, or the company formerly called Replay, now called Play Expo. And it's going to be held at Event City, which is next to the Trafford Centre. So for anyone familiar with the Manchester area, it's quite near Old Trafford for football fans out there. And of course, you know, there's a massive shopping centre there. Basically, there's a lot of hotels, stuff like that. There's a lot going on, and the hall is going to be huge. It's the actual expo itself is obviously we're part of the Play Expo. We're going to be at the Pro Play, but the other areas are Replay. But it'll be a full Replay event, not just a couple of arcade cabs and an N64 here and there. We're going to be talking like the full works for that.
Hundreds of machines.
Yeah.
Hundreds of pinball machines, all that.
I'm really excited.
Yeah, it should be great. Obviously, there's Now Play, which is a chance to play previews of new games and that kind of thing. If you're going to equivalent to Euro Gamer Expo and stuff like that, equivalent to Gadget Show Live and their game offerings. And then of course we've got cosplay for people who like to dress up as characters from their favourite games. We're not going to pass judgment on that kind of individual.
I'm going to come as Lara.
I can see people. Please, God, otherwise come as Louis Theroux. But. And I think Josh is coming from Aston as JLS playing an N64,
He just needs to turn up and he's coming
jokes. That's like jokes that never get too old.
I don't think.
Now
so,
two of them.
Of course, there's people constantly asking me what games are going to be held at these events. We've already announced what's going to be at EGL 7, but at EGL 8, we're going to see slightly more games. At the moment, it's debatable whether or not we're going to see PC games return. We might see StarCraft back there for the first time in a while, obviously. We'd love to do that at some point soon, and something we're working towards. And we've got other games that we'd also like to add to our PC roster, so we'll release more information on that as time goes on. And then, of course, FIFA should be back for that event. FIFA won't be back for EGL 7, but as we mentioned in the previous week's podcast, we should be doing a separate FIFA tournament, so watch out for announcements on that. But so when it comes around to October, we should see FIFA back again. And also, the beat 'em up guys, hopefully we'll have them back again as well. So it will be basically back to our full roster of tournaments.
One of the reasons I'm really excited. Go on, Mike.
I was just going to say, just saying about the smaller FIFA event that we hope to hold, kind of like a EGL 6.2 kind of event with FIFA, is that I kind of asked a few members of the Halo community about trying to do a smaller Halo event, but with Halo Reach, it was just kind of, I think, decided that wait till Halo 4 and then try to do something big for that. So, there's discussions about those kind of things going on in the background. But yeah, let's go back to Play Expo and EGL 8 being there October 13th to 14th. Now, if you want to obviously visit the website that came up before, it's playexpo.net. Don't really take too much information from that website because they're our partners and they're just advertising that we're going to be there. Tickets are not going to be sold to them, so ignore those ticket prices. Obviously, there's no way you're going to attend a LAN event for £12.50. You don't need to buy a ticket from them. All the ticketing for our event will be done through the EGL.TV website. Josh.
Yeah, I was just saying, one of the reasons why I'm really excited for the Manchester event is because, first of all, it's a new location, but also it's almost like being in the event city. Everyone know, well, for anyone who didn't know, apparently it's the second largest venue outside of London. And it's almost like I know we don't follow this format officially, if at all. It's kind of like a national, end of year national event. It's going to be so big, and we're going back to a wider roster of games. So yeah, that was pretty much it. It's a grand venue, and I really can't wait to be there.
It's going to be huge.
I highly recommend people take a look. Go and Google Event City. Have a look, and then there's any of these venues and so on will have kind of information for organizers, and it'll give you kind of photographs and layouts and so on of how big this venue actually is and what it looks like inside, because it is going to be amazing. It's basically a shell for us. So unlike most of the other venues where we have to kind of work around things, this is more of we can do almost what we want with it. We're taking over 1,500 square meters of the actual event, which is about the same size as the Blackpool area. But keep in mind that because of the way that event is set up, we don't have to worry about exhibitor space so much. We don't have to worry about replay because there's going to be another massive hall of replay, which everyone will get free entry for as part of their EGL ticket. So when we say it's huge, it's going to be massive. Like, you can go and do whatever you want around there. There's also going to be food and drink on site, like every EGL event, basically. And I'm trying to think I talked to Replay earlier about this, and they kind of threw some information to me, but a lot of it's slipping my mind right now. But it's going to be our best venue. That's my opinion.
I think it could be an amazing event, especially depending on what publishers are there and stuff like that. You could be testing the new games for the first time, for example, future releases, that kind of thing. So anyone who's into that, we're obviously going to there's going to be so much to do. It's going to redefine what you get to do at an event, basically.
Yeah, sort of with it being in October as well, you'll get sort of the pre-Christmas release as well, possibly.
Exactly. So there should be all that stuff. Hopefully, early 2013 releases as well, beta versions of those kind of games. So just get there basically, and we almost guarantee that you'll love it.
I think a kind of a nice teaser too is the fact that it's in October and we don't see another Call of Duty until November. So I'm pretty sure we'll see some sort of beta come out for that, so you'll get a chance to play it. But if we don't want
to make any promises like this in case somebody turns up to the event asking where their opportunity to play Call of Duty is. I don't want to be answering to those people.
I know. Well, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that we're not Okay, well, let's make it clear. We are not responsible whatsoever for what happens at Now Play or Replay. We are responsible for Pro Play. That's all we can say. And but Marsh is running cosplay.
Can't wait for that.
That is a promise.
He's going to dress up like Alice in Wonderland.
Even though I've already made a point of saying it, I'm now getting asked on Skype, is FIFA going to be at EGL 8? So yes, FIFA is going to be at EGL 8. FIFA at EGL 8.
I'm going to totally write a post up.
FIFA at EGL 8. I might do it and just hold it up for a while. So
actually, to be fair, there's going to be fighting games at EGL 8. Not sure of how the format of that's going to work yet because we're talking to publishers and
shout out to
that gets
Bardolph.
complicated. Yes, big shout out.
He's going to be back. Big man James Bardolph, Whiskey Feather. He'll be back.
And of course, I'm just going to throw out this with EGL 8. If you're listening to this, because we tend to get we probably get about the same amount of viewers. I don't know how many viewers we have right now. Goochhyy will know.
We actually have 405.
405. Okay, so we're about half what we were last week. Last week we had almost as many viewers as we had attendees at our last event. So that means that there's a lot of people who watch this stream who don't attend our events. If you don't attend our events, of course, check out Deserto if you want to be part of the Call of Duty community here in the EU. Obviously, if you're on Game Battles, people on Game Battles will know exactly about EGL LAN events. You can talk to them. And if you play Halo, check out haloforum.eu. They've got a new Twitter account at haloforum.eu, so follow them. If you're a Halo player, if you're looking forward to Halo 4 coming out. And then, of course, the PS3 community over at EU Esports and the Gears of War community over at Gears of War Forum. Just throw those into Google. Off you go. Oh yeah, Gal Forum. Yeah, throw in do your little tiddly twinks onto the Google, and next thing you know, you'll be attending an EGL event with a team of seasoned professionals, I'm sure. We're now going to throw ourselves into kind of the final few things that I'd like to talk about, and this kind of things that Chris, Josh, and I, and some other people have been throwing around. And first off, I'm going to throw in, because Josh, this is kind of close to your heart, is kind of making more of an elite status of an EGL Pro.
Yeah. Okay, so whatever you want to call it, a pro association, a pro society, a group of pros, the reason why I think this is important...
The EGL group of pros.
EGL group of pros has a ring to it, doesn't it? No, the reason why I think this is really important is because we touched on earlier about competing for money. Now, obviously, people don't compete primarily for money. They compete because they love to compete and they have fun on the game they play. But eventually, they have to have a balance whereby are they earning anything from this? Because, they all want to be pro gamers, or most people want to be pro gamers. And yet at the same time, they want to, you have to justify earning some money. But the pro association is going to be another incentive for these players, basically, to compete, not necessarily just for money, but to become a pro. So if the top 8 teams on Call of Duty are getting pro, it adds value to placing 9th to 16th. It makes those placements much more valuable, and then therefore as a result, it trickles down to 20 to 24, etc. So, I want EGL, and we will be creating a pro association. How it's going to be incorporated to events, it'll probably vary from time to time depending on what facilities you have available. It could be a nice lounge area, a couple of perks, maybe a cheeky rego machine now and then. And over time, we'd like to grow it so we can get some stations in there maybe next year in 2013, so the pros can practice. But really, it's just about giving more incentive to players, because I've been there, and it's not just about the money. It's also about being considered, a professional at what you do. And that's what these guys are doing. But we have to. It's EGL's responsibility to help players realize that dream. So more on that in the future. We're going to pull all ideas together, no doubt, at the EGL and the Pro Association 2013, or maybe sooner, 2012. You never know.
Hopefully sooner.
Yeah, definitely.
And then, do you, Chris?
Right in there. Yeah, I just thought, it's important that people know that I want that to happen as well. So
yeah.
Just in case we're like,
he was an asphalt pro at the end of the day, wasn't he? So
those were some good times, some crazy times. That was rock and roll if ever I've seen it.
Beat me to be fair, so yeah.
You hanging out behind the scenes with the other asphalt pros. You guys were. I remember, man, those were the good times, and you guys were animals. You guys were.
They were so hardcore. I don't even remember those years of my life. It's just big
yeah.
Keith Richards at the game.
The thing is like it's obvious that those years took their toll on you.
Why do you say that? I'm actually 37. I just look at my age.
I'm not the one to talk. If someone commented on what I looked like last week, and they're just like, "Man, SmellyMoss looks rough these days." Man, I got 2 kids now, and it's like they're twins, which are just like 5 months old. It's freaking crazy, man. It is nuts looking after children. I'll tell you what. Don't do it. I love them to death, but man, it is a hard work. Liam Biggs knows what I'm talking about.
He does indeed.
Now, we talk about, of course, we've launched kind of over the last couple of days a new EGL.TV website, just as we mentioned earlier, to tie us over. We're going to be doing stuff with that, and then also console gaming. But one of the big things and the real true use of it will be as a shop. And we plan to sell merchandise. Chris, you know a little bit about that? Do you? No, you don't.
We're obviously going to be looking to sell T-shirts. We're working with a company called Retro GT to do that. At the moment, we're just throwing around some ideas for designs, that kind of thing. Hopefully, our designs will be available on our website, obviously on the new website when that launches as well. And ideally, available at events. We're going to be doing event-specific T-shirts as well as having just branded T-shirts. So, and the kind of thing we're looking at is just to give you an idea. Is obviously we have a lot of different nationalities. People want to represent the country. If we go back to ECL2, for example, that was pretty much what epitomised the the Black Ops final was the French versus English rivalry. And it really created an interesting spectacle in the end. And obviously the French came out dominant. And if anything, that's probably the most memorable final we've had to date on Call of Duty side of things. So just kind of like EGL T-shirts, but imagine that. But obviously maybe you have like a French flag on it, a British flag, Portuguese flag, Spanish flag, that kind of thing. So depending on where you're from, you can buy flags from your country. So it's that kind of thing, really. That's what we're looking to sell in the shop.
Came out dominant or sat around and waited?
Pardon?
Came out dominant or sat around and waited?
What, the French, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, we can debate how they played the game at the end of the day.
I'm just kidding. Anyways, EGL shop, we're going to have one at our events, hopefully, and sell merchandise and hopefully sell other things. Of course, that's venue specific. A lot of venues don't even allow samples to be given out. So there's another thing that's a pain in the neck when organizing these things. So let alone selling our own food and drink like we did at EGL 3 at Loughborough, which that was ridiculous because it ended up being just a lot bigger than we actually anticipated, and it involved a lot of trips to Costco, and hopefully we'll find a nice kind of in-between. And we'll try also, we promise to try, try as hard as we can to negotiate the prices down with the venues, because sometimes they are not very friendly to the wallet.
Yeah, of course. A lot of these, it's a captive audience at the end of the day. It's like, you go to the airport and you end up paying loads for a drink or a sandwich, that kind of thing. So a lot of venues, they make money back to put a premium on food, and we don't really have a say in that.
But we will try to have a say in it, but probably fail miserably. Alex.
I was going to say they always decide what they want to charge. I mean, it's their product at the end of the day, and they'll just up the price regardless of whatever we try and say. But of course, we'll try and make the prices as cost-friendly to the people at our event, won't we?
I'm not going to condone people sneaking food and drink into venues and so on, but people are pretty ingenuitive and are pretty good at getting things past the security. So not going to say that you should be doing that, but that's always an option. Okay. Okay. Yeah, Alex?
Just make sure you use the bin.
Yeah,
please use the bin.
I think we're gonna make a video for the EGL YouTube page, which is like an animation of how to use a bin, because I think it was pretty obvious at the last event that a lot of our attendees are incapable of doing that yet. But we'll get there. We're new. We're getting there. Another thing that we're planning on doing is kind of incentivizing the volunteer system for EGL. It's only in kind of the early doors of what we plan to do, but it'd be great to be able to offer the people who work extremely hard at our events a chance to be rewarded for doing so. A lot of, depending on your level of commitment to us and how many events you've done and so on, there's already kind of a system in place based on, do you get a discount for attending and helping? Do you get free attendance and so on? And we're looking to kind of expand upon that. If you dedicate yourselves, like the likes, I'm trying to think of some of the people who've done so, who have worked their necks off almost at every single event. Chris, you probably can think of that more.
What you mean, the people like we've set up? Obviously, we often get familiar faces coming down. Some people love doing it. We have a lot of the Norwegian players. They like to come in, put in a good shift, and they always try hard till the end. It's more or less the same people. Obviously, we have people like Raza coming in frequently. Maxi and Jonas helped out before, and they're keen to do so again, I think, in the future. Obviously, we didn't mention shout out. We didn't mention Rapture last week, who put in a good mediocre performance helping admin Call of Duty. And again, it'd be good to give a shout out to the admin. So obviously we had Boz and Gavin doing Halo. We had Josh Fitzer, and of course the Wally who lost his voice doing Gears of War. Then we had obviously on Modern Warfare 3 we had Razor McBride obviously, and Rapture. And then on PS3 we had Nick M, who is also one of our main guys at Console Gaming. and he was helped out by a number of people from the community, the usual faces, Dan Baker and people like that. So once again, big thanks to you guys for helping out and everything you did there. And anyone who helped out in setup and has done at previous events. Obviously, there's so many people that pitch in over time. It's hard to name everyone now, but we're really grateful for that, and it's part of the community experience. At the same time, we're all from the community ourselves. We've all come from different backgrounds, but at the same time, this isn't just like a faceless organisation. This is gamers, putting on events for gamers essentially. So when you guys come down and support us, help out, do your bit to get the event up and running, then we're really grateful for that kind of thing.
I think kind of the most important thing of the kind of volunteer system we want to set up is that we do this because it's a social thing for us razor. We enjoy meeting people and getting out there, and we want to become friends with the people who volunteer. And I think the likes of Razor and Raza and even Emo and so on, they can say that they've made friends just by being involved a lot more heavily within EGL. Well, at least Emo previously, because he's abandoned me. He didn't abandon me. He made a smart decision. But like one of the ideas that's come up for the volunteer system is to try to maybe run a staff only LAN event. So some small little thing where we get together and we can play whatever games we want. We set up basically a mini EGL event, which would be pretty cool. But at the end of the day, we need people to volunteer and we need people to be dedicated to EGL from just wanting to help us take a step forward. And we mentioned last week kind of the jobs we need covered and the things that you wouldn't expect to be covered. We need people to help with our networking. We need people to help with the power. We need people to help with setting things up from in the ceilings. We need people with licenses to be able to go up on the lifts and so on. So no job is too silly and no task is or qualification.
Some jobs are too silly. Like, I want to go over that. Some jobs are. If somebody's got a clown license or something like that, that's something that we just simply.
That's not a real thing, though, Chris.
Are you sure?
Yes.
You've obviously never graduated from circus school.
No, come on. I guarantee we can find a use for somebody who's graduated from circus school. I can think of 4 things right now we can get.
We don't need people cabling stuff in on a unicycle. I can't see the benefits of that.
Would be awesome. Backflips, like super high backflips off of trampolines to put cabling up.
I'm just worried about health and safety. That's all. So, well, if we get them a high vis jacket, that's probably fine.
Things that we tend not to worry about EGL during setup, health and safety. But we don't. If you volunteer, we'll put your safety first. You heard it here, folks. We're gonna wrap this up now. Alex, we're gonna start off with you and your final thoughts. Do you have any sort of parting wisdom you'd like to share with?
It's just huge pressure on me right now, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm sure you've got something in your mind. Just anything random, preferably nothing to do with gaming.
Tea bags.
Tea bags.
Yeah,
I saw on YouTube. There's a good teabagging video.
Teabagging? That's a whole different kettle of fish, isn't it? I thought he was talking PG tips. No,
I was actually.
Oh,
but, Mike's flipped this the whole way around.
Hey.
I'd like to just give a quick shout out to Rel, my best friend online, my LAN buddy, and of course all the other Deserto Live team as well. Of course, I wouldn't be here without them. But no, definitely for any of you considering going to a LAN that haven't yet been to one, definitely come to either EGL 7 or EGL 8 if you can make it.
Or EGL 6.
If you can make Sweden, definitely do your best to do that. But if you feel a lot more comfortable staying within the UK for your first one, definitely do your best to get there.
Josh, parting wisdom.
Well, first of all, given that Alex is on the show, big shout out to all the YouTubers out there, all the characters, because really it's only been the past 6 months since I've started watching some of them to understand why people enjoy them so much, and it's fascinating in many contexts, but either way, it's interesting and entertaining, so definitely shout out to that. Shout out to you, Mike, as well, because as I said to you earlier, the original commentator, again with Goochhyy, you were the original. And for many people, we'd love to have you back as a commentator. And you do commentate still, I know, but maybe you should perk up on your knowledge of it. No shout out to Chris, as usual. But and also just a general shout out to all of our viewers. Get tweeting the stream, guys. This is a regular thing. We get more people watching, and we're going to change it up. We're going to find out what you guys want on the show and whatnot over time.
And I know they're long to watch and so on, but it's all information that we think someone out there will find valuable. Mellow, your parting shots.
My parting shots are, I would just like to reiterate the last time what we're doing event-wise for the people who have still not quite got the picture of what's going on. So EGL 6, 30th of June to 1st of July in Stockholm, Modern Warfare 3 on the Xbox 360 only, team cap of 32 teams. EGL 7, 4th of August to 5th of August, Blackpool at the Norbert Castle once again. We've got Modern Warfare 3 on the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, Halo Reach and Gears of War. No team cap on any of those games. Then we've obviously got EGL 8, October the 13th to October the 14th at Event City in Manchester. Once again, we will have Gears of War, Halo Reach, Modern Warfare 3 on the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. No team cap there. And we will welcome back the beat 'em up games. And of course, FIFA 12 will be back on the roster. Or FIFA 13, I don't know what will be out by then. So hopefully that's cleared it up for everyone who... And again, I just want
information. So much information. We will have a post. Well. We'll have a post up on EGL.tv within the next 24 hours explaining all of this. And I'll have a full rundown of exactly what we've talked about in this episode with links to the episode if you want to throw people towards it. Because you've had so much fun listening. What's your final thing there? Sorry.
I just want to do a final shout out to obviously like all the guys who work behind the scenes in the community websites, you know, all the guys at Halo Forum, all the guys at Deserto, all the guys at Gears of War Forum, all the guys at Sweet Patch TV, you know, doing the FIFA kind of stuff. And as well, you know, some guys who we work with that never get a mention at the moment, and that is the guys who are still staff from Console Gaming. You know, they're doing stuff behind the scenes. We've got Sawyer, obviously, we've got Point Blank, we've got Nick Mitchell, who obviously got a mention before with regards to the tournament stuff. So a big shout out to them as well. You know, they're always helping out. They're always helping with marketing. You know, you saw the vaults been given away at the last event. That was kind of part of their work as well. So well, more than part of their work.
It was
yeah, it was. It was essentially 100% their work. Yeah, it's a full credit to them there. So you know, a shout out to them as well. Sawyer just put finally famous on on Skype immediately after that. But yeah, so yeah, and a shout out to everyone who helps out, whether it be admin, reffing, or setting up, or even attending. Really, you know, without you guys, without our customers, we wouldn't be able to do these events. So, and it's a great thing we've got going on. So hopefully we can continue to build on that.
Well, I'm now going to give my parting shot, and I've got two things to add as we close this EGL Live out. The first one is something my grandmother used to say to me, who is still alive but not doing very well in a nursing home. She had this saying, and this goes out to anyone on the EGL in the EGL community, on Deserto, on the Halo forum, who complained and whinged about the EGL 6 announcement and then the EGL 7 announcement, and will probably complain about the EGL 8 announcement because it is impossible to make everyone happy. But what my grandmother said was, if wishers were horses, then beggars would ride.
Deep.
Okay.
We are going deep there.
I need some armbands to bloody cater for this. Jesus.
And so if wishes were horses, then beggars would ride. And, of course, a big thank you to, of course, Dan, who is behind the scenes, who has made the four of us come together magically on twitch.tv. We're going to be back again very soon. We may make it every Thursday. I'd like to do that. Chris, would you like to do that?
We'll see how it goes.
We'll see how it goes. I'd hate to bore you every Thursday night with the nonsense we talk about. Okay, so next Thursday, 8 p.m. or 7 p.m. 8 p.m. British Standard Time. You can join us back here on EGL TV, live on twitch.tv. I'd like to thank my cohorts for the evening, our special guests, of course, Mr. Nino de Guzman, a.k.a. Loco, with the yellow headset. Give it a little nod, thumbs up.
That's it.
That was so cheesy.
All the product placement is all going in everything.
And see, Chris, how that was backwards, and you didn't have to make it backwards. And well, it plays right on the screen. And then, of course, our YouTube sensation, who's given us some insight into the deep, dark underworld, the seedy backdrops of YouTube. Of course, Alex.
Thanks for having me on, Mike.
Where can you find? Where can we find you on Twitter and YouTube?
Well, obviously, my Twitter is underneath my face right now. I think my camera's actually frozen for those of you
Yeah,
watching the stream. I've just got a massive
Brilliant. You've got all the space for the full
got a
time.
massive grin on my face. You can't actually tell what's going on down below the camera, but you can check me out on YouTube if you want to. It's Goochhyy. That's the YouTube channel that everyone's been talking about on this stream so far tonight. But thanks for having me on. It's been a pleasure.
Fantastic. And of course, the man, the mystery, Mr. Mellow Live, a.k.a. Chris Marsh from EGL and Deserto. Chris, thank you very much for joining me tonight.
Sure.
And that's it. That is EGL
Sure.
Live. That's it. He has nothing to add to it.
Yeah,
Just like,
sure.
I'm out of words now. I've said enough. So FIFA is going to be at EGL 8 in case people haven't got
just keep adding that. Well, this has been EGL Live. We'd like to thank you for joining us here on twitch.tv. You'll be back for more. We'll be back for more next week, Thursday, 8 p.m. BST.
Hello, YouTube.
no.
My name is Goochhyy,
Oh,
and
yes.
I was just about to get in the shower,
Right
guys,
point
and I
here.
remembered to shit.
No,
It's
he's
Monday.
watching the
I've
whole
not
thing.
done a YouTube
go the
video.
whole thing.
I know, guys. I'm
Oh, yeah,
terribly
don't go
sorry.
the whole
I
thing.
just
Let's
forgot.
keep
Okay,
it.
please.
Why you not got top on? Oh, here we go.
Like I said,
You
guys,
skipped
I'm a
this very
gamer.
well, I might
I'm
add.
no good at press-ups.
There we
Might
go.
have this